Welcome to the Downtown, brought to you by Arlington. I am Daryl Smith Jr., and across the internet from me is...
Hi, I'm Rody John.
On today's show, we talk with Ginger from Under the Icing about how she's turned a Subway sandwich shop into a Subway for cupcakes.
We also speak with local legend Tillie from Mission Arlington on how it got started, what keeps her going, and how people can help during the holidays.
Man, when we started this, I was... Obviously, everyone, in Arlington and in the Metroplex now knows about Mission Arlington. Mm-hmm. So I was always like, we got to get them. And then we never got them. So I'm glad we were finally able to sit down and talk to them.
Talking to Tillie was a genuine honor because, as you will hear in the interview, she doesn't do it for fame. She doesn't do it for money. She does it because she's a good person. And as she'll tell you, it's all for God. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, she's just a good person doing good things and just literally helping. I mean, she has no idea, but I want to say at least 1 million people, considering she's been doing this,
Sure.
Not only here in Arlington, but, 'cause we'll get into it. She taught English over in Korea with her husband. And so she's touched people all around the world, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and very exciting to have Tillie on the show. Can't really call yourself an Arlington podcast unless you talk to Tillie, so you can check that one off the list.
It's like I met Teresa. It was pretty amazing.
We only have a few more things to check off before I think we can say we've done it all. Six Flags, the Cowboys, the Rangers, but we're getting there.
Six Flags will be coming soon now that Holiday in the Park's happening. They do want to talk to us. So
all right, look at that.
But
on up.
We did choose these two guests this week because obviously next week is Thanksgiving. So get out there and go get some cupcakes. You can order ahead of time with Under the Icing. You get to hear that fantastic interview. And then when it comes to Mission Arlington, it's all about giving. There's a lot of people wondering, I got to bring this, I got to bring this. What if that wasn't an option for you? Like, what if you didn't have anything to bring, or you're wondering where your next meal was coming from in general? So when it comes to Mission Arlington, please help as much as you can. This is not just this time during the holidays and during giving time, but all year long. If you've got stuff that you're trying to get rid of, don't worry about selling it. Go donate it to Mission Arlington. Somebody can and will use it, and that's what's so great about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that I donate at this point goes to Mission Arlington. Mm-hmm. Because if I have something that I no longer need, but it's still good quality, give it away. Give it to someone who can use it, man. It's no skin off my back, otherwise it's going to go to like a thrift store and someone, and those places are great too. Don't get me wrong, but Mission Arlington helps people. Just here you go. There's the help.
I mean, they're right downtown. They basically own 4 city blocks. So it's hard to miss it, where Mission Arlington is. And if you have any questions, look them up online and give them a call and they'll answer anything. Tillie will probably also be there helping you or guiding other people to help you. So, go up and meet her yourself. I'm here with Ginger from Under the Icing. How are you today, ma'am?
I'm doing great.
So, you are here at Green Oaks and Park Springs, and you've been actually open now for, I guess, about a month maybe?
We had a soft opening June 5th.
Right.
And so we had our grand opening about a month ago.
Okay.
So we've been around for about 4.5 months.
Right. So how did Under the Icing come to be?
So the backstory is when I had my first daughter, and she was coming up on her first birthday, I just figured, I wanted something about her birthday to be memorable, and I was like, I'll just make a cake.
Right.
And now I just figure I do that every year. And over the last 15 years and 6 kids later, that has been the talk of the town as far as my family. And over the last few years, I've had friends and family ask me to make stuff for them. Mm-hmm. And then eventually everybody told me, hey, you should open a bakery. And so God just kind of lined it up, and this place became available. And I told him that, I said, God, if this is here in 6 months, then I'm going to have this as my bakery.
Right.
And he told me that that's exactly what he wanted me to do. And he lined everything up perfectly, never went anywhere else. And here we are.
Wow. So how did you find this location of, I guess, any location in Arlington?
So I actually live right around the corner, and all of my kids go to the schools in the area.
Very nice. Okay.
And so right before the pandemic hit, we noticed that Subway had closed down.
Right.
And I went to New York with when the pandemic hit and came back, and was really shocked that it was still open, because I figured somebody would have grabbed it. And so as I was going to Walmart, just like I said, one day I pulled up next to it and looked, and I was like, you know, God, this would be a perfect place for a bakery.
Yeah.
And we had the little conversation of, if it's still here, then I'm going to do this, if that's what you want me to do.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that you went to New York, so you are, in fact, a trauma nurse.
Yes.
And so you did go to New York City during the height of the pandemic.
Correct.
What brought you up there?
So my husband was military for almost 10 years.
Okay.
And so I was always the one at home. And when he came home, I went full force into the nursing career. Been doing it for about 13 years.
Wow.
But when the pandemic hit, nursing is everything to me. It's something that I have had in me since I was a child. And it was a golden opportunity, now that my husband was home, for me to kind of deploy and be that person that's on the front field and make a difference.
Right.
And here in Texas at that time, we were okay.
Right.
So I just felt a need to go to where people really needed me, and that I could make a really big difference. And so it was hard, and it was scary, but it was also amazing. I met amazing people out there. I made so many connections that I never would have made. It made me a better person. Yeah. And honestly, it has inspired what I'm doing at this bakery, to reach out to my community, wherever each bakery is. You know, hopefully we are going to grow, and to touch the community around, because there's so much pain, whether it be physically, mentally, or spiritually. And all I want to do, both nursing and with the bakery, is touch people's lives in any way that I can.
Right. As everyone should, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think is the biggest lesson you took from New York that you are bringing back here to Texas?
Gosh, there was so much. Just that everybody has their own story.
Yeah.
And whether it be right around the corner or whether it be in New York, you never know what people are struggling with.
Right.
And you shouldn't judge, because coming from a different place and entering into somebody else's place, you get judged.
Right.
But then if you're not careful, you will be hardened by that, and you will start judging.
Right.
And there were so many people that lost almost their entire family from COVID. But even just the nursing staff there were days where they would want to give up, and they would be frustrated that we were there. And there's always the money aspect of it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we had to prove that we're not there for that. I'm here to help.
Yeah.
And at the same time, to give them the encouragement, and to know that, to see the struggle that they had to go through in losing their own people, because they weren't prepared, and just being integrated into so many people's lives at such a vulnerable time, and so many lives.
Right.
It wasn't a normal, just a couple of people coming in. It was thousands and thousands of people who you just got to see insight that nobody usually sees.
Right.
because all of us had to be vulnerable with each other. We all had to lean on each other's shoulders. That was the only way we could survive.
Right.
And so walking away, it's definitely giving me a whole nother eye experiencing, don't judge and be there for people, because when I was discouraged and low, they were there for me, and vice versa. I want to be there for them. So again, that just gives me even more of a push to do whatever I can for people whose lives I can touch.
Right. And I think that's genuinely what people should be doing.
Right.
Yeah. So on a brighter side, what all do you provide and bake here besides your wonderful cupcakes? Yeah.
So we have regular custom cupcakes that you can just come in and pick up. But then the really cool thing that we offer that nobody else offers is, it's funny because we're in Subway, so we tell people we're the Subway of cupcakes. So you can actually come in and build your own cupcake custom right in front of you.
Wow.
So you get to pick the base cupcake, the filling, frosting, toppings, and we build it right there in front of you. So
That's
you
fun.
can come in and say, I'm craving this today.
Yeah.
And every day you can have a brand new experience.
I guess, have you done the math to see how many concoctions you can really kind of put together?
I have started that, and I have still not found the end of it. So we also are offering, like right now we're doing fall flavors.
Okay.
And then in the spring and summer we'll offer summer flavors. So we're kind of mixing it up.
Right.
And then each week or every 2 weeks or something like that, we'll just go in the back and say, you know what, we want to make a fun cupcake today.
Nice.
And so we'll get that one and put it out and offer it for a week and see how it hits. We're also really we're wanting people to come in and give us their feedback. So we had a lady come in the other day and she said, you should make a banana pudding cupcake.
Oh.
So you know what? We're going to hunker down and we're going to figure out how to make a banana pudding cupcake.
Yeah.
And we're going to, first person we're going to call to come try it out.
Yeah.
So I want to have fun with it. And I want everybody that comes in to have fun with it. But no, there's so many different concoctions that the number is endless. So, but we do that. That sets us apart. Then we also still do custom cakes.
Right.
And we also do wedding cakes.
Oh, very nice.
So we do a little bit of all of it.
So you do the wedding cake tasting and everything too?
So now we don't do traditional wedding tastings.
Okay.
Only because, like I said, you can come in and figure out exactly what you want. It's not coming in and saying, these are the 5 wedding flavors. No, come in, buy a pack of 6 and mix and match them exactly how you want to see what it tastes like. And then come back and tell me what you think.
Very nice. Yeah.
So
you touched on it already. So you're providing fall and winter flavors for your cupcakes. Can you just give us an example of some of these flavors?
absolutely. So right now we have pumpkin cheesecake.
Ooh.
We have apple pie, which is one of our number one selling.
I imagine.
We have a hot chocolate or peppermint hot chocolate.
Okay. We
have peanut butter crunch. We have traditional carrot. We always have red velvet.
It's kind of a staple, really.
Yes.
If you're making cupcakes,
if you're going to have a bakery,
you
have to have red velvet, yes. And then we have chocolate covered cherries.
Ooh.
So that's kind of our fall thing. And then in the summer, we have key lime.
Oh, wow.
We're going to have strawberry limeade, cherry limeade,
All right.
all the traditional things.
Yeah.
We have really good strawberry lemonade, blackberry lemonade.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we got a lot of really cool things coming down the pipeway. And then we still have our peach crumble, which we've had that one in summer and it was so popular we rolled it over into the winter.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to try the new things.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you've kind of touched on some stuff that you guys are looking forward to doing. What else can people expect in the future?
So one of our things that we're trying to set up is how we can reach out to the community more. So we're in the process of trying to set up a donation program.
Right.
And so we want to sponsor churches, organizations, and honestly, like I said, for the community, if we hear about even a family that's struggling, we would like to sponsor, somebody that had a disastrous house fire or something like that every week.
Yeah.
Any cash or credit that's put into the donation box is going to be 100% given to
That's
whatever
awesome.
this organization is. And then 5% of all of our sales for the week is also going to be given out to them.
That's amazing.
So we are and like I said, we're in the process of working on that. We're hoping to roll it out in the next couple of months and start having a weekly organization or a church or something like that sponsored. So we're trying to reach out to the schools.
Right.
And, you know, we're absolutely welcome to anybody coming in and letting us know and getting on a waiting list. And then other than that, we're hoping to this not be our only store.
Right.
You know, our vision is 5 stores in 5 years.
Right.
So we're hoping that as we love the community, they'll love us. And we'll see our business grow. And hopefully they'll be seeing us pop up a little bit of everywhere at DFW.
That's obviously the hope, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard you talk about that with someone in here before we started this interview. So tell us, I guess, a story about how the visions of 5 stores in the next 5 years came to.
So when we originally started, I really just thought God wanted me to stay here. And in the last couple of months, I had this inkling that we were going to grow, but I didn't really know how.
Right.
And I just have been given the thought that he said 5 stores in 5 years. And honestly, at this point, that's all I kind of know. But like the lady that was just in here, she's the 3rd person that's just walked in my path in the last 2 months that has stopped me and told me the exact same thing. They told me, he said, you know, you're not going to stop here.
Right.
You're going to grow, and you're going to grow fast, and you're going to grow rapidly, and you need to be prepared for it because that's what God wants you to do.
Right.
So at this point, honestly, I know 5 stores in 5 years, but how I'm going to be there, I don't know. I'm just on the roller coaster ride.
I mean, just buckle up, really.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously the universe or God is telling you and nudging you with different people coming through your life saying, hey, focus on the plan, the path, and you will get there. So that's obviously a good thing. And it's obviously a good thing that you opened it. And so it's all the signs are saying, continue.
Exactly. Yes.
Now, I guess the so much struggle is how do you balance, I guess, home, nursing, and this new business?
Correct. Yes. I'm still figuring that out as well. Like I said, nursing is something that's built in me.
Right.
This is my fun getaway that I just love to do. And, you know, my family, so like 2 of my kids work here.
Oh, awesome.
So,
because you have 6, what's the age range?
So anywhere from 14, and then my youngest is 5.
Okay.
So they're all about 16 months to 2 years apart.
Wow, okay.
So my 2 olders, they come down here. My oldest daughter works 3 days a week, and then my second to oldest, she is so built for marketing. It is so funny. She will grab business cards and she just goes out, starts talking to people. And you know, one day, I don't know, maybe she'll take it over because she's right now she's my only one that just loves baking, and she wants to learn how to do all the back work.
Yeah. I guess back of the house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's really excited about that. And then my little ones, you know, I try and bring them in. When we go home at the end of the night, we talk about the bakery. I let them know what's going on. I let them know the same thing as nursing. Just, you know, mommy's doing this so that we can help people and so that I can help the family. And there are days where it's definitely hectic trying to balance everything.
I imagine.
But I work 3 days. My goal is to work 3 days a week nursing, and then to be here 3 days a week, and to also be at home, you know, in the afternoons with my kids and help them with school. But I think a big thing is there's going to be some struggles, but I kind of want them to see some of the struggles.
Yeah.
You know, I want them to know that whatever they set their heart on, whatever God tells them that they're going to do, that they can achieve. But it comes with sacrifice of some kind.
Yes.
And as long as the sacrifice is coming from a place of the light at the end of the tunnel, then, you know, it's worth it. But everything we do, we try and do as a family, and we try and include them and let them know what's going on so that they're just not left with mom's not here. You know, there's a reason she's not here. And any opportunity that I can have to bring them on board to help, or just come up and look at the pretty cupcakes as my 5-year-old loves to do and eat them. I just try and keep everybody involved in everything that we do.
That's good. I mean, you're starting the family business very early, so
right.
Yeah. And you've got at least 6 workers.
Exactly. It's going to be a full family show.
Exactly, yeah. And you have tasters, and they can come up with ideas for different cupcakes.
Because kids will tell you right off the bat if they don't like it or not.
Oh, you just see it on their face.
So, exactly. Yeah. You just give it to them, and they're like, Mom, this is not good.
Right.
Okay. Or they'll be like, this is great.
Right.
So they're non-biased.
Yeah.
And so that's fun too. And they come up with some crazy concoctions
themselves
that I would have never put together.
Right.
That you put together and you're like, why didn't I think of this? So, I mean, there's benefits all the way around.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have a segment on the show called Tournament of Toppings. We're trying to find the best pizza place in Arlington. Do you have a favorite pizza place in Arlington?
Honestly, my favorite pizza place is Papa John's.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, Papa John's has good pizza.
Yeah, I really like Papa John's.
Okay.
They seem to be the freshest one around. And,
even though you're right next to a Pizza Hut.
I know, right next to Pizza Hut. We have a good relationship.
I would hope so.
We feed them cupcakes. They give us pizza sometimes, and
nice fair trade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we take care of each other. But at the end of the day, Papa John's is definitely hands down my favorite right now.
They have the best cheese sticks.
Yeah.
So Domino's stuffed ones are fine. They don't usually cut them all that well.
Right.
Pizza Hut doesn't really have the cheese sticks. They have other things, but I mean, the cheese at Papa John's is better as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although stuffed crust, I will go with Pizza Hut.
Yeah, stuffed crust is Pizza Hut hands down.
Right.
That.
Papa John's is fine.
Yes.
But it's not.
It's not the same.
No, not at all. There's a reason why Pizza Hut is the one to do it.
Yes.
So So if people want to find out more about Under the Icing, where can they find you online, and then where can they come by and get some cupcakes?
Okay, so online right now we have Facebook, we have Instagram, and we have TikTok.
Okay.
And so we're trying to make sure that we're keeping people up to date on that.
Yeah.
And then the only storefront we have right now is this one.
Right. For now.
So definitely come in, give us suggestions. We got suggestion cards on all the tables.
Okay,
so,
that's smart.
Yeah, you can come in, taste it if you have a suggestion or a suggestion for anything we just talked about.
Yeah.
I would love for people to come in and let us know how they feel so that we can make those changes to whatever is going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, I look forward to spending more time here and then seeing the other locations pop up as well.
Yes, me too.
Yes. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm here with Tillie with Mission Arlington. How are you today, ma'am?
We're doing very well, thank you.
Well, thank you for being on. First off, I mean, you're, like I mentioned before, you're a local legend, and you said old, but it doesn't mean old. Just what you've done for this city and the Metroplex is just absolutely fantastic. And lives around the world, because we were talking briefly about you spending time in Korea, teaching kids how to speak English, and my brother did the same thing for a little while. I guess, I kind of want to know, how did you get over to Korea to do that?
Well, first, in 57,
Right.
58, 59, my husband we married in 56, and then he was called in the Army, how they used to, they drafted, and he was sent to Korea.
Okay.
And so the wives, of course, couldn't go because it was during the wartime and run after that. But he went to the Baptist mission work and asked if they would sponsor me to come and teach school.
Right.
Because I was graduating from North Texas University.
Right.
And they said no. And so he went to the Methodists. And they said yes. So the Methodists sponsored me to come over to Korea at that time to teach school. And that's where I went to Incheon, to the General Po High School, which was a boys' high school, and taught English for probably almost 13 months.
Wow. That's my brother would tell me stories about, because he taught younger kids and just how different things were. I mean, obviously they're different countries, so they're going to be different. But yeah, people love their soju over there. I don't know.
Well, it was interesting, we're pretty relaxed, informal with teaching to relate to the kids. But there, you could not walk into the classroom until they were seated. And when you walked in, they stood up and saluted you.
Wow.
And, I'd sit on the desk. They'd say, no, you can't do that. You got to stand behind the podium. So their ways and styles were nothing but respect for the teacher. And then a student never left the room until the teacher left first.
Wow.
And so, it was just kind of an interesting year of working with a group of students that were very, very respectful, but that was their culture.
Right, it's true. And they go, 6 days or 7 days a week?
Oh, 7.
Okay. I
taught 5 or 6. Excuse me.
You're fine.
21 and full and ready to go across the street when y'all have a driver.
So, and so I taught boys high school. And about that time is when the film was pretty popular, Giant.
Oh, right.
Which was about Texas.
Yeah.
So
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
I taught those kids about Texas and using that movie.
That's
and
fantastic.
So we put on a pageant and did a lot of things right there in downtown Incheon.
Right.
And they were talking about Texas.
Right. It is funny that Texas does it. Obviously it's the biggest state inside the continental United States, but it's the biggest state in the world too, because everybody knows where Texas is.
That's right. So we were quite popular.
Right. Well, I guess let's fast forward a little bit. How did Mission Arlington start?
Well, we spent 10 years in South Korea.
Okay.
Coming home after 10 years, school teachers went back into the school system to teach and to do. But I couldn't get away from, if you could do missions in Korea, why can't you do missions in Arlington?
Right.
And so 7 years, I talked to people, prayed, try to interpret that because it didn't go away.
Right.
And so one day I made a home visit to a lady that needed her electricity turned on. And I said, can we start Bible study in your apartment at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning and we'll get your electricity turned on?
Right.
And that was a good deal.
Yeah, I would say so.
And she said yes. And so at that time, First Baptist was supporting and helped us get that start.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how it really began, with a Bible study, 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, unsaved, unchurched people. And so we had the first Bible study there at New Orleans Court, which is right across from Webb Elementary School.
Right.
And and today we have about 350 different locations.
Yeah.
Where when people said, what do you do? I said, well, we just take church to people. And our definition of church is what we do 7 days a week.
Right. 24
hours a day.
Yeah.
Because you can teach them, and like John 3:16, but then they can't hear you if they're hungry.
It's true.
It doesn't mean anything if they don't have a way to get the kids to school.
Mm-hmm.
And so we began to realize that we need to help them at a point of need in their lives. And so we did that. People began to give, and we began to take out and hang out. So somebody asked one time, well, what's y'all's strategy? Well, we didn't know to have one. So I just said, well, I can tell you what we do. We hang out on property and hover around John 3:16.
Right.
And it seems to work, because John 3:16 is really about whosoever.
Mm-hmm.
Never met a life yet that God didn't create.
Right.
So we can't decide that we're going to throw away anybody. And so the joy of service, feeling that this is what the Lord put together 2,000 years ago, was just a continuation of that love and compassion that He has for the people. And we want people to understand that, that they too can find significance, and they can understand that God loves them too, regardless of their circumstances. And so probably any Sunday morning there'll be 5,000 people in Bible studies all over this community that are Mission Arlington congregations. And we call them Bible studies, and then they begin to call it their church. Right. And so it just evolves with the power of the Spirit of God. And we just enjoy every day. So this is 35 years of us trying to help folks understand that God loves them too.
Right. Instead of just doing one day where everyone will worship it 7 days.
Right. No.
Yeah. That's amazing. Because, I mean, there is those unfortunate people that do live their lives where that one day they're all about God, but then the rest of the week.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess let's go back. So you graduated from Arlington High.
1954.
Is that where you met your husband?
No, met him at Arlington State College, which
Okay.
is UTA today, because we married in 56 and I graduated in 54.
Okay.
So in 55, we met in the classroom at Arlington State College.
Do you remember the class?
It was history class.
Okay.
And I thought he was married because he had his class ring was turned on the speaker. So I thought, well, he's safe, I can visit with him. So, and at that time, I was working at First Baptist Church as a secretary, going to school. And so he showed up at church one Sunday morning. And I said, aren't you married? He said, no, are you? No, but I knew the Lord had his hand in that. And so we dated for about a year and married in 1956.
Wow. So did you grow up in Arlington?
Yes.
Did both of you grow up in Arlington?
No, he grew up in Jewett, a little town down East Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how did he get to Arlington?
Coming to school.
Oh, come to school.
And he worked at the post office in Dallas.
Very nice.
And so we both had jobs and went to school. And so we just met that way. And then married, and then we moved to Denton because we, after the time, it was a 2-year college. And so Denton, we graduated from North Texas.
Okay. And that city is completely different than...
Oh, yes.
I mean, I mentioned my brother again. He graduated from UNT, and I remember visiting him up there. And that square, that whole city is completely different than what it used to be.
Absolutely.
And I can't imagine what you
we
see.
lived on Welch Street, which is right there at the college.
Yep.
And we were in a garage apartment, and underneath us was about 6 guys. And Bob worked at the post office like he would leave at 3 in the afternoon, come back in at 1 in the morning.
Oof.
Well, I connected with those guys. We just had more fun while Bob was at work. We did all kinds of things. You know, we still played Penny Ante and all that. We shopped for Christmas and we waited for him to come home. And so he thought it was a little strange, but it was good company for me. So.
Of course, yeah. So how did you guys come back to Arlington?
Well, we left there, and that's when the Korea we went there, and then when we came back, we moved to Arlington and had our first kid in 1960.
Wow. And then, and so Mission Arlington started in
86, because back then in 1960, I tutored at home, took in ironing, babysat people, and he worked 2 or 3 jobs.
Oh, wow.
He got his degree, was teaching school. His first job was at Carter Junior High School. And then we kind of grew up in this community because this is where I was born.
Right.
And made it our home. And then we went back to Korea as missionaries. Okay. And were appointed in 1966.
Gotcha.
As foreign missionaries, and came back home in 1978. So we spent 10 years over there as missionaries.
Wow, that's incredible. So how long did it take from y'all to getting out of this one house to having your own place?
Well, we made several journeys, and it took a while to do that. In fact, my dad gave us $10,000.
Wow.
And we let him move into the house that we had, and then we moved into another house. Okay. And we're still in it today.
Well, really?
It's on Pearland, and what we paid $35,000 for that house on Pearland. So I think it's worth more than that today.
1 or 2 pennies, I imagine.
We're pretty consistent. We stay put, except going back and forth to Korea. During that time, also, Bob was called up in the Berlin crisis. Oh. So we had to also move, and he was sent to Grace Air Force Base. Okay. And I followed him. We had 1 kid at that time, and we lived in Belton and for a year, and then that was over with, and we came back to Arlington. Arlington's home. Yeah. In fact, I was born 1 block from here.
Really?
Yes. I was born at 104 West South. And this is 210 West South.
And I mean, that place obviously is not here anymore.
No, it's First Baptist Church took it over.
Okay, so what's an example of some of the services y'all provide here, for those that don't know?
Well, the services that are provided, would be the food
Right.
that people desperately need, and clothes, counseling services, furniture. We have a dental clinic,
Oh, wow.
a medical clinic. We assist with rent, utilities when we can, when monies are available. The transportation for the people who don't have ways, people who donate cars. Now we use vehicles. When we first started, there was no transportation.
Right.
And so we gave away a lot of bicycles.
Yeah.
And then a lot of just volunteers started coming to take people places.
Wow.
So it was kind of we've sort of evolved with the transportation system.
Right.
And it really hurt us when the bus system went out of Arlington, because we could get them to Fort Worth and Dallas pretty quickly. But now we use the train station.
Yeah.
And the VIA helps us a lot in taking people. We have a contract with them.
Right.
And so whatever that need is, we tell people the emotional, the education, the physical, the spiritual, you get all that going together. It's like four wheels on your car. You just gentle them down the road.
Right.
So we have after school programs for kids. And then, like I said, Sunday morning, 11 o'clock, we have over 300 congregations now.
Wow.
One time, you'll like this story.
Yeah.
Sent in, for some reason, came out here to see us. We didn't know, they just showed up. And their purpose was to dispel small groups. That small groups were not significant when you had large churches and right around you.
Right.
So, in my ignorance, it didn't matter to me what they did, so I took them out to one of our locations, tried to think of one that was nice.
Obviously, yeah.
So, went out to one on the east side, and it was hot. And there was no air conditioning, and the kids were sitting in windows, and the adults were, but we were having church out there. And so the guy got out with his camera and started talking, and right across the street from that little apartment was a real pretty white little church with a steeple. You can see the picture. It was just a neat little church right across from us. So this CNN reporter said to one of our kids, just chose him out of the windowsill, and said, tell me, why would you come to church here when you can go across the street? It's air conditioned, comfortable, nice. And the guy looked at our teenage boy, looked at him and said, why would I do that? My pastor picks me up from school. He takes me to get lunch. He helps me with my homework. Why would I go over there? So the CNN reporter just closed up his stuff and left.
Wow.
And that was all there was to it. Never heard anything else since then.
Right.
Which I thought was, Lord kind of protected us, I guess, in my ignorance, not knowing that it wasn't okay. I mean, it was okay, but there wasn't anything for us to know other than this is what we were doing, what we felt like the Lord had given us to do.
Right.
So,
You're genuinely providing, needs that people have.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll provide, that's, I guess, I don't know. We just didn't go there. I was a little taken back with the whole situation.
So the holidays obviously are a time of giving. For Thanksgiving, y'all give out turkeys, hams. For Christmas, you all have a free store. Can you tell us more about what else you guys do during the holidays and what the holidays mean to you?
Let me give you a little background of why we do what we do with the holidays. It began in 86. 87, people began coming to us saying, we need help on our rent.
Right.
January, February. Well, what happened? Well, we used our rent money to buy toys for our kids.
Oh.
We used our utility money to get toys for our kids. We don't do that. Let us help you with toys and turkeys and trees, and hold on to your rent money.
Yeah.
Hold on to that utility money. And so we started the Christmas store in my office, which was a ball, a coat, and a bat.
Right.
And then that, of course, began to grow and began to make sense. And so Christmas store, last year 34,000 children got gifts. And this community comes together. They're working up there today. They just all year long working to prepare for the Christmas store for December, when people can come. They show us that they have kids, and then they get to shop and pick and choose, and they'll have a shopper helper, and the choirs are singing, and kids come, and groups come, and people are wrapping packages and sorting, putting markers on, how they mark out the codes and things like that. And so it's just a tremendous time that we all come together as a community. But Thanksgiving, of course, is before that.
Right.
And so last year we fed 6,000 families with 6,000 volunteers. And so again, we've been doing that for a bunch of years. And not a soup line, we take it to them. Right now, our folks are out in the communities. Do you need a cooked meal? Do you need an uncooked meal? A sit-down dinner?
Right.
And so we know the community because we have all these volunteers that have been hanging out with us for 35 years. And so they'll say, I've got a family, but they don't have a stove.
Yeah.
They need an uncooked meal. So we fill out that information. And so when Thanksgiving morning comes, all these volunteers show up.
Right.
And then we, with our staff and our volunteers, go with them out to these locations, and the volunteers take the food to them. Here is a cooked, well, it's an uncooked meal first, with all the trimmings and the turkey.
Yeah.
And they get it in a home where there's a table and chairs, and maybe even family now they've come together. And so we knew them when they didn't have a table and chairs.
Right.
And so, because we do furniture.
Of course.
And then we have the cooked meals where the folks don't have a way to cook. But you tell us you don't, then we'll take some, we have cooked meals. The Texas Baptist men help us with this.
Yeah.
And they put together 4,000 to 5,000 cooked meals.
Wow.
And so as soon as we're finished with the uncooked meals, then the community turns to the cooked meals.
Yeah.
And then we'll load them up. How many people in that family will get how many to-go boxes, take them out, and they all go out to the places. And then for those folks that don't have any place to be, we have a sit-down dinner. And so they eat and enjoy it and have a good time, come every year to do that. So that's a neat time.
I imagine, yeah.
And then the Fall Festival is 2 weeks away.
Okay.
And so we're preparing for 3,000 to 4,000 children.
Right.
Where we'll have over at our property off of Fielder and 303.
Right.
It's called Grace Community Congregation.
Oh, yes.
That it's right across from Fielder Church.
Right, yes, ma'am.
And that whole property, all the way to Arkansas, we'll have hay rides and bouncy houses.
Really?
And games and hot dogs and then they get back on the buses and go home. Right. So we're getting ready for the season. But we don't want to miss anybody. It's so neat to, we have people in the community, they'll say, well, thank you for the toys you gave us for our kids, but tell us about that story. We never heard that story before. Because we tell the Christmas story at the Christmas store in last year 7 different languages. And so we have people who will do that and come in and tell us all every day, just constant. Right. And people sign a little card and they'll say, I want no more. Come make a home visit. I need a Bible. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I want to trust Jesus. Right. And so then we make those home visits, and all year long we're in their homes. So it's an invitation to come see them. One day the fellow filled out the card and he signed he wanted us to come see him and bring a Bible. Well, that next week we went, but the fellow had been in a car accident when he left us, was killed. And so the wife, when we went to the door, she told us, but we had, the last thing he did was a card he'd written on that he wanted no more. So she was very, very pleased with that. Yeah. So we're in a hurry to tell people about Christ. We don't want to miss anybody. Yeah. We work real closely with the police and the firemen and there's no community like this community.
It's true. We've discovered that as well.
Yeah, and so everybody works together. When the Katrina happened, we all, nonprofits, we were the transportation, and the Salvation Army did this, and the Line Shelter did this, and we all just network, because I don't think any of us are in it for gain. No, we're all in it so that people can find significance in their own life. We had a story last year when we were doing it's Thanksgiving, and I noticed this fellow kept following me around. I stopped and I said, anything I can help you with? He was pretty dressed up, and he said, I just want to tell you my story. Yeah. He said, when I was about 9 or 10, he said, Mission Arlington helped us, our family, so much, but he said, I had real bad teeth, and I spent a lot of time in the dental clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And today I'm a dentist in our community, and I just want you to know that.
Wow.
I said, well, thank you. It always feels good to know that they stay here.
Yeah.
They have found that significance in their own lives personally, and then they want to give back.
Right.
And so that's what we see here. And the reason we want to stay here and do, because this is reproducible
Mm-hmm.
to the world. Anybody can come along and reproduce what we have here.
Right.
And they come from every state. We've had 48 states come.
Okay.
And then they go back and they say, well, we've got old houses. We can do this, you know. And so, again, the message of God's love will permeate the world because he came for the world.
Right.
And we're just one little segment of it, but wanting to be faithful to them.
And it is a testament to the city as well, because we realized that everyone does want to work together. And again, it's not for a greed or a gain of any sort. It's literally because this city is the biggest small town.
Right.
Like, after the census, we have over 400,000 people here. And we have artists that work together as opposed to working against each other to help build the community that is the art community. We have, the entertainment district is not getting smaller.
Right.
We're not having less professional
Yeah.
teams play here.
Right.
But that city, it's, and then what happened over here with Union or Urban Union,
Yeah.
that area right there, they're realizing, that popped up on its own.
Right.
The city had nothing to do with that.
That's right.
What you've done here with this campus, the city had nothing.
But we both
It's literally-
partners in it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is.
UGA, same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks.
UGA is not getting smaller either.
Right. When presidents will come visit here next week sometime.
Oh, great.
But we want our relationships because like you said, everybody's in on it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we had a little skirmish one time up at our Christmas store, and 2 police officers came, and they couldn't find the skirmish. So I asked them if they'd like to come see the Christmas store.
Yeah.
So we went up to telling the story, and I noticed a lady officer had tears. So I said, are you okay? And she said, well, when I first came to this city, I stood in that line to get towards my kid. I know what it's about.
Do you think you have an estimate of how many families you've helped in over 35 years?
No, that's up to the Lord.
Right.
We don't count well. So it's too many to say, but if one life has made a difference, you can do this and you can do that. But what you want to do is make a significant difference in the life of a kid, a young person, an adult. And we're so involved in the schools. We love the schools.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So you've been honored basically every year since 1990 in some form or fashion, whether for your work here at Mission Arlington, whether it be stories about you, awards, the Arlington Fire Department naming a boat after you.
I love that one.
It's amazing. What do you think your legacy here is?
When it's all said and done, and I may be sitting on somebody's church pew, and nobody knows my name, I'll still worship God.
That's amazing. Because, I guess you can easily take it in and be like, I've helped so many people, but like you're just serving the Lord.
That's right.
Yeah.
I tell people there's no magic in the name of Mission Arlington.
Yeah.
But there's power in his name.
That's beautiful. Well, I don't want to steer it in a different direction real fast. How has it been seeing the city of Arlington grow? Like you said, you were born here, and then
I sometimes wish my daddy could just see it.
Yeah.
We had a service station. Let's show you the picture.
Oh.
Yeah, he had a Gulf service station right on the corner of Abram and Center.
Abram and Center?
That was his first station.
Oh, wow.
And then he moved the station to Abram and Pecan.
Right.
A Gulf service station. And sometimes I thought, Dad would absolutely not believe what he was. And I don't know that he would agree with all of it. But,
right.
But
oh, man.
it's just, I am thrilled because more people are coming. And what's being done for the UTA students?
Right, exactly.
We had a group of them come in. Of course, they're all looking for something. and we started giving them bicycles, but they didn't know how to ride them.
Oh.
So I had about 10 out there with bicycles. I'm trying to teach those guys how to ride them. But we were very close to the campus and to their lives. And we put furniture in, I think, all the apartments.
Yeah.
And they'll come over and we'll tell them, we said, y'all get together and rent a U-Haul and come get what you want and take it. Just take it. And so one day we had a family from India, and the young lady had her daddy with her. And so we helped them get situated, and so then she decided that we were her all in all. So anytime she wanted to change the way the furniture looked, she'd come over. I'd like it over in that corner, you know. Well, the continuation of that story, we had some missionaries we had some staff that trained and lived here for a number of years with us, but then they went to foreign missions, and they went to India. Moved into whatever city. Next door neighbors, they started talking. Well, the neighbors was that daddy. They came here to get the daughter started in school.
Really?
And so when he said he was from our person said he's from Arlington, Texas. The fellow said, well, my daughter is in Arlington, Texas. And so, you know, again, how could you put that together?
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny when the world's so small that way.
I know it.
Yeah. So we have a segment on the show called Tournament of Toppings. We're trying to find the best pizza place in Arlington. What is your favorite pizza place in Arlington?
Well, I like them all because if they give us to, they give us the leftovers. I haven't been inside a store and I don't know when.
Okay.
But they do. They're so gracious,
Right.
and all of our folks love the pizza.
Yeah. Oh, who doesn't?
Well,
Yeah. So if anybody wants to know more about the Mission Arlington or able to donate, or even if they need their services, how can they do so?
Well, they can show up is one of the easiest things you can do if you want to volunteer.
Right.
And their schedule is their own. We don't say, oh, you got to work this. You know, there's no bureaucracy here.
All right.
And I tell people it's flat at the cross.
Yeah.
And so we all stand equal before the Father. And so if you want to come in and you say, I have 1 hour, we got something for you to do.
Okay.
There's something for everybody. And you can show up. We fill out a form. You tell us kind of a direction. Like this morning to our medical clinic, the guy came in and he's a UTA student. He said, I'm a med tech, I'm a lifesaver, I'm a this, I'm a that. I said, well, let's get over to the medical clinic. Or somebody just wanting to fold clothes or sort clothes or start getting us ready for the holidays and count bag rice. Or there's just a few trucks pulling in with Dickie short clothes.
Oh, wow.
And, there's always something to do.
Yeah.
And so we would encourage people to come and feel comfortable with it. And if they don't find just exactly what they want, just let us know and we'll find it. Some people like to work in the office and we need people to answer the phones.
Right.
This is 99% volunteer.
Wow.
And so we need the help.
Yeah. I imagine.
Yeah.
And if people need your services, or I guess
they come in the front room.
Okay.
They call, and then we do make a lot of home visits.
All right.
Because, like I said, we're in 350 different locations.
Right.
And I just get on the phone, take a picture. I've learned to do my phone sort of.
It's amazing the technology that's come for it.
I sent it to one of the Bible study leaders. This person came in. They live in your apartment community, and so then they make that visit. And they're more important than a loaf of bread.
Right.
And so we're out there where they are, knocking on doors, making sure they have what they need. So.
Wow. Well, Tillie, thank you again for your time.
Thank you. This has been special.
I mean, for what you've done for the community, for what you continue to do, and whatever your legacy is, I think it's helping people and, like you said, serving the Lord. And no one can, I can't even imagine how many millions of families you've probably helped. So
well, it's a blessing that God put together. I tell people he looked the world over and found the most ignorant person he could find. He said, she's not going to know any better. So it's fun.
Yeah.
I tell people, don't lose your sense of humor. Just know that God is the plan.
That's true. Well, thank you again.
Well, John, you're wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to Tillie and Ginger. Appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about all the great things that are going on with both of you and the organizations that you're with. Like we said earlier, if you can help out Mission Arlington, go for it. You can get some dope cupcakes at Under the Icing. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a banger of an episode, if you ask me. So while you're out doing all that, while you're dropping off some clothes in Mission Arlington, while you're getting some cupcakes, if you're out on a Monday, remember that every Monday is trivia night at Dr. Jekyll's.
And every second and fourth Tuesday over at Create Arlington is their open mic and poetry night.
Every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m., you can go downtown at Inclusion Coffee and check out Chess Club.
Every Wednesday it happens. Also, every
Bobby Fischer.
Yeah, get your Bobby Fischer on. Every Wednesday night, however, head on over to Jambo's Barbecue and catch UTA Jazz Night from 5:30 to 7:30.
And after you're done getting the meat sweats from the Big Sadie, every Wednesday night is trivia night at Division. So go over there, polish off a few brewskis, and win yourself that belt at trivia night.
Sure. And then every Thursday at 8 p.m., One Love Lounge is doing their Artist Love Night, which is their open mic night.
Always incredible stuff happening in the city. As we're moving further into the year and into 2022, I can only imagine there's going to be even more things going on.
Exactly.
So many new things coming over the horizon for the city, for us, hopefully. So while you're out there doing all this stuff and you're thinking about all the stuff you're going to do in 2022, remember to
make sure to go out and eat local, drink local, and
go rediscover your city.
Tag us and send those pictures over to us on Facebook, Arlington Citizen Media, Twitter, ATX Citizen Media. Tag us on Instagram, Arlington Citizen Media, and send those pictures the old-fashioned way. Email arlingtoncitizenmedia@gmail.com. Also go to our website, www.arlingtoncitizenmedia.com. Don't forget to subscribe and give those 5-star reviews of the Downtown at Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and also hit us on SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and YouTube.